Hello, I'm Leonard Garrison. I'm professor of flute at the Lionel Hampton School of Music at the University of Idaho. And I'm here to tell you about Danse pour Katia, or Dance for Katia, by the French composer Armand Bournonville. This is a popular selection for flute and piano, and it's rated level F by the National Flute Association and is appropriate for intermediate flutists in their second or third year of study. This little-known composer lived from 1890 to 1957 and also wrote a nocturne for flute or violin and piano, a fantasy impromptu for clarinet and piano, and a book of sight-singing exercises. He composed Danse pour Katia in 1929 and dedicated it to Marcel Moïse, an important French flutist and recording artist. During the 1930s, Moïse was the flute professor at the Paris Conservatory, and after World War II, moved to the United States, where he influenced an entire generation of flutists through his classes in Vermont. Now, there are two quite different editions of this work, one edited by Robert Cavalli and published by Southern Music Company, and the other published by the French company Billaudot. This latter French edition adheres to the composer's original markings. This piece is a waltz, which determines the style of performance. The tempo is allegretto giocoso, not quite as fast as allegro, and in a light, playful, or joking manner. By the way, Cavalli changed this to allegro giocoso. Bournonville provides the metronome marking of 66 to the measure. That's quite fast. And one can perform a little slower to accommodate technical challenges, but still with a feeling of one beat to the bar, an important characteristic of waltzes. Boom, cha, cha, boom, cha, cha, boom, cha, cha. The first theme is originally marked staccato, piano, and leggero, or light. Cavalli changes this to staccato dots plus tenuto marks, mezzo forte, and leggero. I prefer the staccato, but share Cavalli's concern that some flutists may perform too dryly. That's just too short. A better style would be one should always create the staccato mainly with the air instead of with a hard tongue. And a great exercise is to practice with no tongue at all, which forces us to organize the air into tight little packages. No tongue. When adding the tongue back in, make sure to use a light syllable, D, not T, and keep the end of each note open and resonant. In other words, each note should end with a vowel, do, 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 rather than a consonant, or what I call king tut, 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 tut. So here's the difference. An open resonant staccato, ting tut. Play this first theme strongly enough to project over the piano accompaniment, but not really mezzo forte, as one has to leave room for further development of the sound as the piece develops. Change color when different chromatic inflections of the same note occur. Measure 4 features F sharp and E, whereas measure 6 features F natural and E flat, requiring a different inflection, a different color. Raise the dynamic in measure 11, and then really go for the crescendo in measures 15 through 18. The composer calls for a dramatic subito piano at measure 19. Cavalli leaves this out of his edition, which I think is a shame. Now there are many little ritardandi and cesure, or what we call railroad tracks, in this music. Don't over-dramatize these or come to a complete stop, or else the momentum never gets going. Just take a little time to breathe. I love it when composers inspire us with ben cantando, or well sung. In measure 35, spin your vibrato and sing your heart out. Observe the 4-bar crescendo followed by a subito piano. In measures 36 and 40, hold your right hand ring finger down for the entire measure to facilitate fingering. This finger. Now let's listen to Danse pour Katia with myself, Leonard Garrison, playing with my wonderful colleague at the piano, Roger McVeigh. Here is measures 1 through 42. In measures 43 through 55, follow the dynamics. At the flute entrance, Cavalli changes the original mezzo forte into a forte, which is okay, but he omits the piano at measure 47, which is essential. Another color change is the C sharp in measure 45, followed by the C natural in measure 49, which requires a varied inflection. In the crescendo in measures 52 through 55, avoid going sharp by blowing steeply down, keeping the embouchure open and relaxed, and adding the right hand third finger to the final F. Practice this passage slowly with a tuner. The lowest note of the piece is the D flat in measures 73, and 74. To prepare for this moment, practice daily warm-ups, slowly slurring half steps from the B natural in the middle of the staff, gradually down to low D flat. As you descend, keep your head up, open your throat, make a big cavity inside your mouth for resonance, and blow steeply from the upper lip down. Practice measure 74 slowly for the pinky slide. Keep the pinky on for the C sharp key when slurring to the next G. Measure 77 to 78 is an element that the French composers favor, the whole tone scale. Practice this by memory so the notation does not throw you off. Now we're ready to listen to the middle section of the piece, 43 through 78. After the tiny break in measure 78, switch to the thumb B flat, making a better finger connection between B flat and G. Now, if you use this B flat, which I call 1 and 1, not as easy, not as successful. Keep the thumb B flat key on through measure 83. I like to switch to the lever fingering in measure 84 to prepare for the B natural in measure 85. Notice the heavy accents in measures 93 through 102. This is the most forceful part of the piece. In measure 101 through 102, the accents go against the meter in a pattern called hemiola. Think of this as 3 bars of 2/4 rather than 2 bars of 3/4. Let's listen to measures 79 through 102. The last 2 lines are a coda. Più vivo means more lively or faster. If the tempo before was 66 to the measure, now one must play at least 72 to the measure. And double tonguing is an extremely useful technique here. If you have not tried this technique before, now's the time. The syllables are do, gu, and what happens inside the mouth is the front of the tongue pronounces do, the back of the tongue pronounces gu. So it rocks back and forth, do, gu, do, gu, do, gu, do, gu. Learn double tonguing by improvising certain patterns on scales. For instance, 1/8 and 2/16, do, gu, do, gu, do. Or 2/16 and an eighth. Do-go-do, do-go-do, do. In this coda, since it starts after an eighth rest and it's on the end of the beat, you must start on the back tongue on a gu so that you end up on a do on the downbeat. Good do, good do, good do. Note that the last three bars are a chromatic scale. Any fast passage that is written tongued should first be practiced slurred so you can get your fingers straightened out. The tongue can be added once the fingers are smooth. And finally, let's listen to the coda, measures 103 to the end. Well, enjoy playing Danse pour Katia, and good luck or bonne chance.